So maybe in the beginning, it would be good to uh, revive a little bit what those organizational meetings, this AHF, African Humanist Forum meetings for planning and organization, uh, what they are intended for. So I will take the liberty of simply reading from the invitation sent out. Well, there we explained how in our organizational meetings we exchange and share the initiatives and experiences of the participants in their activities for helping others, us at the same time moving towards building humanist forum in their respective areas. We also look at the future of the humanist forum, the prospect of growth, and widening our collaboration with like-minded organizations in our areas, going in the same direction towards a better society for all without violence and discrimination, which is our main uh, kind of criteria of the broad concept of the humanist forums, is that it is open for all and everything, but we do not accept violence and discrimination. We denounce violence and discrimination, and we are not interested in moving on project with other organizations if they with those who do that, to accept violence and discrimination. So for whom is this meeting? This meeting is for all those who are serious, and I'm reciting from the invitation, all those who are serious and want to really get involved in planning and building the African Humanist Forum, committing themselves to move in a conscious and organized way towards building humanist forums in the neighborhood, city, town, university, village, wherever they are placed. So, so I think we will not have more of those kind of formalities to place ourselves why we are here present in the meeting, but we will do a lot of exchange and sharing experiences as you heard from the invitation. But before that, I want to ask Antonio, who is helping to coordinate both the African Humanist Forum and the Asian Humanist Forum. Those two form as the Humanist Forum at large are part of the project of the international humanist movement. So some 1.5 years ago, we started, a few of us, like Antonio, myself, and Ragnar from Iceland, who is now taking leave because he is dealing with his personal things at this moment. But uh, the Humanist Forum for Africa and for Asia is a part of our venture towards the global humanist forum that will be an ongoing one. But I will not go very much more into this because Antonio knows more than I. And if you could tell us a little bit, why are we doing this humanist forum, and what is the context as to where this, the humanist movement is heading? Please, if you can, Antonio.
Yes, thank you, Julius, and it's nice to see everyone. I can see on my screen only Michi, David, Bright, and Briscoe, Miniver, and Royce. Perhaps there are more people there that I cannot see them because I'm working with the phone.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yes, the humanist movement for many years is trying to humanize the earth. Humanize the earth is that human beings can act towards each other in a way that is not violent, and where you can consider the person next to you as valuable, as important, and with the same compassion that you have for yourself. And in that way, we will be able to eradicate, if that happens to gradually change, we'll be able to eradicate violence in the world. And violence, we understand poverty, we understand all types of deprivation, we understand that resources concentrate in the hands of a few in detriment of the majority, and therefore the fundamental human rights that every single human being should have, they are stepped upon, they are destroyed, and they are not being respected. Because our fundamental rights, I mean, the right to health, the right to education, the right to housing, the right to quality of life, and to have a stable and well-paid job. When I say well-paid, we don't need to be a fortune, but to be able, through our job, to pay attention to the needs of our family and ourselves to a basic level, satisfy our necessities. So it's understandable that countries probably they have more wealth than others, but still it's important that everybody within a society reaches a similar level. And if people also are aware that violence in society is connected with violence in their own consciousness, in their own mind, they will understand that each one of us has a responsibility in improving society if we are capable of change and to eliminate violence within ourselves. Because when we have a bad time, we go out and we start to blast at other people. You know that how it works. It's amazing. And then that other person that is in the receiving end will do it with the families, will do it with the neighbors, will do it to other people. And then these chains of violence move in different directions for different reasons. And all that, according to Silo's teachings, the founder of humanism, or universalist humanism, all that can be overcome and has to be overcome. At the moment, we are suffering a war that has been coldly planned by people in the United States, Joe Biden, for example, and they organized a coup d'etat in order to threaten Russia. And after that, they forced the Russians when Russia said, well, look, I mean, we have to pay attention to our security as a nation. It's a very powerful nation, the largest country in the world, and atomic power. Of course, they wouldn't allow, I mean, the Americans to come and step over them or to organize coup d'etat. And the people that they are the accomplices of the Americans, I mean, they happen to be Nazis. And the Nazis are traditionally, even because of historical reasons, enemies, and they hate Russians. But they are a very small group. The majority of the Ukrainian people have always lived together with the Russians. All the families are mixed up. They used to speak the same language for 500 years. And the Americans come and they try to put a nail there to stick a problem and create a conflict. And now the conflict is stepping up, and they have forced the countries of Europe to be accomplices, and they are bombarding and killing each other. And the situation is very dangerous for everyone, because as a result, then the flows of oil, the flows of the cost of energy, the cost of living in different countries of the world is going up, 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 and we are paying the price, you and I, because it's affecting your countries in Africa, perhaps in many ways more than other places, and it's affecting the conditions of living of everyone of us, and creating a big uncertainties about the future. The cost of energy, because they block the imports from Russia, of course, and they don't have oil in the West, they have to pay higher prices and bring it from the United States. And the Americans are very happy because they are selling gas and oil to Europe that before they were not, but for very high prices. And that is creating disorder and conflict everywhere. And also they are trying to create conflicts with China, because always the American economy has benefited from United States after the Second World War to take advantage of the situation of control and monopoly that they acquired at the time when the European empires started to collapse. Because before, the Europeans were the owners of Africa, the owners of India, the owners of Indonesia, the owners of everything, the British Empire. But then they started to fight with the German Empire that also was acquiring lots of power and influence, was also industrially very strong. And that created the First World War and the Second World War. And the Americans came at the last moment and they provided tanks, aeroplanes, weapons, all types of resources, and helped the Allies to prevail. But in reality, I am telling you lots of history that at this stage it doesn't correspond. But the point to make is that artificially, the Americans are creating conflicts in the world because it's important for them to sell the weapons and to sell the resources at very high prices. And that is upsetting the economy of the whole world, and we are suffering. Mm-hmm. And that is state violence. You can see violence, the same cycle of violence, the generation of wars and the generation of poverty everywhere, and more conflicts. And that has to be eradicated because we have the capacity at this stage to destroy the whole civilization, to kill every single individual in the whole world, because the nuclear power is distributed in such a way that nobody will survive a nuclear war. And they are every time creating conflicts that can easily trigger that type of disaster. And what right do they have, because of economic ambition and because of power ambition, to kill the whole humanity? I mean, that is absurd. So we have to defend, we have to organize, we have to create a different way of thinking, we have to create a different culture in the world. I am sure that the conflict in Ukraine will have to be solved, because the price already is becoming so big, that they will be all in the knees in another 6 months if they don't settle it. But it's an example of the violence when it acquires that terrible level that can destroy everything around. We don't want that. We don't need that. We want to all prosper, all have a quality of life, all our families to grow in peace and happiness. That is the destiny of the human being, not to kill each other. Even animals in the jungle, you have a fantastic national parks and you can see them from very near. They don't kill each other, only in situations of need, because they need to survive, etc. And otherwise they live in balance, they live in equilibrium, and each one of the species, I mean, keep the space, keep the balance. Sometimes they fight internally for a conflict, who is the head of the group, but nothing more than that. So the only species in the world that goes killing each other for many different reasons, and because of avidity, the desire to possess and to control and things like that, is the human being. And that is a sickness of the soul, a sickness of the mind. And those are the things that we want to change. Humanity has been fighting and killing each other for thousands of years and has to be stopped. Now we are more conscious, we are more interconnected, we are more people in the planet. And if we don't stop it now, it will run completely out of control. I don't know what you think about that. We think that is the most valuable thing that we as human beings can do. And that is the aim of universalist humanism. And that is the aim of forums. In forums, even if it's at the village level, we have to discuss about those things. We all have similar information. We all have our telephones. We receive information of what is happening. Sometimes it's very confusing, it's very contradictory, but all of us are reading from the same page at this stage. So that's fantastic, because there is less divide between people in the world. We can share an idea and we can share an aim, an objective, and implement it in whichever is our level of work. If you live in a neighborhood in some village in Kenya, perfect. I live in a neighborhood in a village in England, perfect, because I will talk to my neighbors. I will talk to the people who are close to me. I will talk to the people around my job, etc. And in that way, we can go disseminating a different way of thinking and acting. And for that purpose, at the same time, we go changing ourselves. We need to eradicate violence within ourselves. So there is a new way of thinking. There are practices that help us to work with our internal energy, to recognize the sources of suffering that trigger violence within our own minds, and so on and so forth. Teach the things to other people around, and we can all start to evolve, transform, move into another stage in the level of being as individuals, as conscious individuals. But we have to start little by little, because if we amongst ourselves, that will not change anything, not even in our countries. Just for the fact of talking, we have to do more work closer to people. We have to sit and exchange and discuss and have examples and have models and have practices and support each other in what we are doing. And in that way, it will start to spread. And at one time, we will say to the governments in the country, look, we don't want what you're doing. We oppose it. We are against, and we'll vote against. And because they have those systems of pseudo-democracy that they manipulate and they try to steal the votes, but in the end, if the majority of people want something different, they have to go, they have to accept it. And so we'll have an immense power if we work together and we work in a common direction. But that will require to study some problems very closely, and we'll have to start also to change the way in which our immediate society works. We have to work in education at our village level. We have to work in quality of life in our village level. We have to work in health, improvement of health in the village. And like that, we can create amongst all of us mechanisms of support, mechanisms of information. We can teach each other lots of things, and we will be growing and growing our influence. So these forums, the idea is to have representatives of all the countries in Africa, but representatives of different sectors of civil society. People who are in education, people who are in science and technology, people who are in business, people who are in the arts, people who are in social change and transformation, all the different spheres. And all of them have to have clear and need to have clear and have to discuss about that, in which way, in their own field of information, they can make society more humane and more receptive of the necessities of the person next to them. And it's a fantastic project. I mean, it's one of the few things that excite me at this stage of my life. And I have dedicated all my life to it, because it's so rewarding to feel that while you have been living in this planet, you have been pushing for something that is good for everyone. That is in itself is the source of your own satisfaction. And shortening and moving a bit quicker now, but I will tell you that we would consider that the conditions for a forum are met when we have from a region at least 20 countries. In the case of Africa, that is 20% of the countries of the region. You know that in Africa, in all little countries and others, there are 54 countries. Not all of the same size as Kenya or Zambia, but some little ones, but 54. So we expect to have at least 20 countries represented in this forum. And we want people also from the northern part of Africa. At the moment, because we work also with our international news magazine, that is Presenza, we have run some courses for people who want to learn nonviolent journalism, how to write, emphasizing precisely this line of thinking, not promoting violence, not promoting conflict, but trying to resolve them. And we ran a course on nonviolent journalism, and around 25 people started there. There were lots of young people, and young people, I mean university students, people who were studying journalism in universities and that, and we invited to participate, and approximately 10 or 15 came out, and they have continued supporting the activities of Presenza. And one of these cases is a lady from Tunisia. Her name is Maisa. She's Arabic, and her mother tongue is Arabic, but she speaks also fluent English and French. And and she's very interested in the project of the forum, the African Forum. When I told her about it and how do we work, what we are doing, she says, well, I want to be part of it and to help, etc. And she has the facility to start gradually connecting people from the North Africa. That means Morocco, Tunisia, Egypt, and Algeria, and they are large countries, and like that there are about 20 countries where the cultural stream is half Christian and half Muslim. And there are lots of people, millions of people who communicate in Arabic. And therefore, it opens a huge potential to get in touch with people that at the moment we are not in touch. We humanists are very keen in Africa and in Asia because we developed. Silo is from Argentina. He was, because he departed this world already. But I mean, we are very much attached to the cultural mentality and form and language, etc., that is Spanish-speaking people. And that is a limit when you are planning things in a world scale, because how can I talk in Spanish in India, for example, or even in Zambia, or in wherever else in China? Nobody will understand. And it happens that precisely in Africa and in Asia, it's concentrated 70% of the population of the earth or more. That means in the years to come, these people, I mean, all these countries of Asia and Africa will call the shots. But we hope that nobody will be calling the shots, imposing things, but will be a very influential human force. Nobody will be able to do things on a world scale without consulting Africa and Asia. And that's why, and there we don't have a very strong presence with the universalist humanists. So we are particularly keen in developing our the knowledge of our philosophy of humanism in these points. And that's why we have chosen this form that is an ancient form of organization and working together that are called the forums. Forums are open spaces. I mean, since the ancient civilizations, even the initiation of Rome, the Roman culture that later conquered and expanded all over Europe, and we all come from there. And is like 2,500 years old. Well, in Rome, they had what they call the fora. And the fora is the idea of forum. I mean, they were open spaces that were not far from the main cities where people lived. And once a year or twice a year, everybody met there. It was like a place of festival. The business people sold the cows and the produce and the maize and whatever they had. And they had sports, collective sports. Some of them were very good riders, and they had competitions. Business people were trading and talking about their own things. Politicians were talking of ideas on ways of improving the life in society. The artists were performing, and they were their own things, and was a place where everybody had something interesting to talk about and to develop together and to exchange about it. So the communities in general were learning and were developing. They didn't have universities. They didn't have any specializing. So they had to, together, they had to develop all these skills. And it was very important to be in touch and to know what the others were doing and to be in agreement about what was best for the group. Probably they had to discuss matters of defense, because otherwise other tribes would come and get them. So they had to organize ways of anticipating these, or in case of an eventuality, to defend, etc. So there were amazing ways of organization that have kept alive in all different societies and in all different times. And even today, you have read probably in the news, there is a group that meets every year. They are neoliberals. They are billionaires in the world that they are trying to discuss amongst them how they can make even more money. So it's an ideology completely opposite to the humanist. But the fact is that they use the same organizational form that has been used by humanity's civilizations for thousands of years. So forums are fantastic because people come, get together, and they see in which way they can benefit of each other's experience and knowledge, etc. and they learn how to work together towards the future. And in that way, ideas disseminate, and everybody gets, you think that things should be like that? Yes, you're quite right. Or the other one says, well, yeah, perhaps we are making mistakes in this area or the other area. We learn what our people are doing that is positive, that we can copy and bring it home and do it there. It's incredible. And so we think that for our purpose, for this objective that I was mentioning before of humanizing the earth, is a very good mechanism, and it works very effectively. And we have done in other parts of the world in the last 30 years, we have organized forums that have been extremely successful. The first forum we organized in Russia in 1993, and there Silo, who was still very active and very interested, because it was when they dissolved the Communist Party and then perestroika, that internal process of change took place in Russia. That was not a violent process. It was a process where they said, well, look, with the Communist Party, we are going nowhere. It's very inefficient and we cannot compete with anyone. So let's dissolve it and we do something else. And they were not killing each other. They were nothing like that, but they changed everything. And then they opened up society. And they said, well, now that we are not threatening the West or anyone else, probably we will be taking like one more of the club. But it didn't happen because the Americans wanted to break away Russia because they were scared that at one point would be competing with them. And the whole mentality, vicious mentality, continued and deteriorated the situation to the point in which we find today. But the point that I wanted to make is the forum is an incredible model of organization and dissemination of ideas that we have adopted in order to explain what we think in Asia and in Africa. And this is the project to which we are inviting you all, in whichever scale you are working, even if you are not of great influence yet, but still, because your contribution will be like the building stones that will make later on possible to construct a big new way of organizing life in the whole continent. In years to come, we may not see the results. The important thing is that we are working in the correct direction for humanity. That is what inspires us. And I'm sure that inspires you as well, because it's the way that we human beings feel. And so that will be. We haven't determined a date for the African Forum. This will be in the beginning, will be remote forums. That means we are not going to travel to one particular country to meet for a week. We'll do it in a virtual way with our computers, and groups of people can be in different places and we can interact. The forum, even if we developed it over 3 or 4 days, will have different commissions. So even if we are 10,000 people, 100 will be interested in one topic, 50 will be in another topic, 200 will come to another topic, because we all have different experiences and interests that we want to contribute, and we want to apply the experience into our field. That is more or less the model that we are going to use and design for this purpose. But we don't have date because we need to create basic conditions to get there. We need to have people in different strata of the country with different levels of specialization, with different levels of involvement and experience. And then we shouldn't jump stages. First, let's build to that point, and then we do the participation of all together in something that will last. Because after the first forum, we hope that every year or every 2 years we'll have new forums with more countries, with more participants, until it represents the whole African region. And we can have people invited from many other regions as well. So we'll establish networks of links, of contacts, of experience, of exchanges that are fantastic. That is a very ambitious project, very attractive for every one of us, because it will open up new universe of possibilities that we don't have yet. And at the same time, it will inspire us to transform society around us and in a global level. That is in a nutshell. Sorry for talking so long.
Yes.
I want to tell you that also that a lady from Angola, next to Zambia, So Minerva probably very soon will be able to wave at her and say, here I am. She has been involved in the movements of social change in Angola since the beginning. And she is in her mid-50s, I reckon. And at one point she said, well, the conditions are such in political terms that I want to form. She is well recognized socially. I said, I want to form a political party because my fundamental interests are women and poverty. And unless we do something and we talk directly to people, the political establishment will not change anything. Her name is Florbella Malaquias. And then she took as a model the principles of humanism from international websites. And she copied the model, the platform, the political ideas. And then she started to talk to all her friends, etc., etc. Well, the fact is that in August last year, she contested the national election and she got 2% of the vote. And she was elected to parliament, and another person of her party got elected to parliament. So now we have an MP in Angola that she has expressed her support to the cause of the African Forum. She loves the humanist. And by the way, we have already a scheduled meeting, a conference where we are going to make an interview for her in Presenza. And we have an interpreter that speaks Portuguese. He's one of the girls who participated in the Presenza course that I was telling before. And we will have a documentary with all the explanations and where she will explain what the policies are, etc. And you will be able to have copy of that and listen to it in groups and communicate with everyone, etc. And we'll try to gradually go creating synergies between the experiences that she is doing at the grassroots in Angola and the experiences that we are doing in other countries in Africa. I mentioned this because that's a way that we go constructing. It's like sewing. You go sewing little by little, one point, another point, and suddenly you have a jumper, or you have a mat, or you have something incredible. You say, in the beginning, you are not thinking what will be the final product. More or less, you think, but not all the time. You keep knitting and knitting, and that's what we are doing, and that you have to start doing. But we know why we are doing it and for what purpose we are doing it. That is fantastic. So this about the forum. I don't know what else could add, and I think the next part of the plan is to talk a bit about your experiences that you want to comment, and in the end, I want to share with you a short experience that was one of the last exercises that Silo taught us all before he was very ill and then she left. And it's extremely good because we can practice with this in 5 minutes, anytime, day or night or whatever, by ourselves or with other people. And it's called the breath of air. Consists that you take a deep breath. You take the air to your chest in the level of your heart, and then you ask yourself certain questions and certain, you connect some profound feelings. But we'll do that in the end. It will take us 5 minutes, and then you carry it with yourself. Later on, we are going to copy the description of the exercise on the list, and then you have it with you as an additional material. Thank you for the patience.
Okay. Thank you very much, Antonio. It was a great overview of why we are here and why we are here because of this common interest and the common desire for a better world and how to organize to make it a reality. You know, this human society without violence and discrimination. That is the very short definition. So at this moment, I think that this is a good idea that we hear about some concrete steps that have already been made or are planned, you know, with some dates and some concrete evidence, to hear from those who have those of you who are working and organizing and planning steps towards Humans Forum in your areas to tell us what has happened in the last weeks and months, and then maybe a little bit about your project for the next weeks and months. So, in this respect, I think since there might be many of you that want to say something, that we would do like we have done for many years in Iceland in our humanist forums, where we have many organizations and there are maybe 100 people there and many organizations that we take each participants has 2 minutes, more or less 2 minutes to like synthesize what he or she has been, what they are doing. And I would propose that we might start by Zambia and then going to Kenya. And in that respect, I think it would. I think minimal. Would you be willing to tell briefly about what you have been doing in your and your people's approach towards the human in your humanizing projects through the local and regional forums. Thank you, Miniver. Are you willing to start?
Yes, I have to start, but first of all, I could like to thank Antonio for this information. Thank you very much. Yeah, because when I started the humanist movement, and when I came to close to humanization of the earth, I felt that this is the group I belong to, because I always looking forward do similar things. What they are doing in the community, or especially better things. Also, I imply it to myself and I share with somebody. So that was my life all along, and I was really very happy. And in one time, I created a page on social media. That was some time back, but I was using my son's phone. Yeah, humanizing the earth, and I said, people on the move is where in the first time I met Sudi. We were chatting on this page, but unfortunately I lost it because the one's phone I was using left the country until when I had something to start using at this moment. I'm very happy, and when I look at my project, I always say sometimes I feel maybe I'm not going to do it. I will fail because when more especially I talk to big people, NGOs, directors, when they look at me, they see nothing in me. So sometimes I do feel shy. Uh, I don't even follow up if they don't tell me to follow up again. So, but at this time, I've seen that something is going to happen here in Zambia, because I have seen these steps I have taken. We are working here in Lusaka, where we are communicating slowly on this African forum. We did one here in Lusaka with a friend of mine who had a community school. They welcomed the program, and she's still with us. It's only that at this moment she's sick. She's not feeling well. I communicated with her. She wanted to say something, but she cannot do that. Maybe next time. And when I started this project, I combined with what somebody shared with me, the projects I did, because if I can do project using my humanist way of communicating and bringing people together, it is going to help me to talk to people whom I cannot reach. So I started using groups here in Linda. So far, there are so many groups which I have talked to. Some now they are cooperatives, they are doing very well. And I think of now going out from Lusaka in nearby in rural areas like Stumbeko, although I haven't been there, but I'm talking to people who are there, whom we have seen that things is going to happen there. We are going to do big things to all of us, because each one at the end of the day will find something that his life is developing in terms of knowing what is bad, what is good, not only for us, but for people who are around us. And I also thought about going to my mother's village, for which I met these incidents, which has opened up those people's minds at this moment, because they are now looking forward, what are we going to do now? Yeah, because they are happy to see that those things can happen among people, but also it can be solved. So we are working on this um, coming together. Somebody has done something to somebody and they have to forgive. Because in my mother's area in the past, long time ago, their system they had was bad. Because when somebody has done something wrong, they have to revenge. So, but at this time, because that is their culture in those days, and more especially few people who were Christians. But now, because some have learned, and this time when especially we talked to the elders whom we met there, they were very happy that we need to stop this mentality of revenging. And once we have heard this about humanism, we knew humanism was there, and we were implementing that project here in our area. That was in Chipundu area, also in Chitambo district. And so there are a lot of things which is going to be done, because people already have opened up their minds. They are looking forward to change their mindsets, to change their lives. So I'm really very happy, because I know this project, it will be burning like fire, according to
It's
my experience, because I'm really very happy going and sit with those people right there. Because one thing which is very important for me, because when we just approached those people with my son, the first thing they said, no, this project is good, and what we want is first of you see the counselor. And I was happy to see the counselor and also to see the chiefs, which I didn't see at that time. But when I go there next time, I'm really that those people, I'm going to share them this good information which we are doing at the moment. And while I was there, because it bordering it's northern and Luapra province, and they are the neighbors there. And somebody out there heard about this and came and said, no, we need also you come to our area, which is very, very encouraging and motivated, because once we will be there, we will not be stick to one place. We will be just like, I don't know how we are going to do it, because we are happy when who have made those people right there. So what I'm thinking, and what is very encouraging me, is I do both the projects and the humanist forums. Yeah, I combine these two things, because people suffer when they don't have food. People suffer when they don't have
exactly.
those things which they are lacking, because those are violation, according to what I've learned from Silo's messages and the other things. So I'm really happy. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Minira. Such a nice explanation
Yes,
based on real experience.
yes.
Thank you.
This is very, very nice. So maybe we can turn to Kenya, because I think we have two countries here, Kenya and Zambia at this moment. And so, we are looking for some tales of real steps being taken towards the Humanist Forums. I know that Alexander is here with us, and he has I have been working for a humanist forum in Nairobi in the university there, and maybe we have more examples. But please, Alexander, what do you want to tell us about what you have put your hands on towards building a humanist forum?
I hope I'm audible. I've been having an issue with my handset with network issues. Um, I just want to say Kenya is great, but as I always say from the beginning, when you build a house, sometimes it's never that easy. I always love to refer to that when you build a house, you go to an architect, you get the design, you start looking for the materials, and some of the materials will not make you happy, you remove them. That is the experience we are having in Kenya, where when you come with a new program, people tend to have a lot of questions, people tend to have a lot of disputes. Like recently I posted, we did a logo for the Kenya Charter because it was a requirement. People are asking, uh, do you have a logo? Do you have this? So we did a logo, and I think I posted it on my Facebook account. And someone, around two people came into my inbox with a lot of questions and negativity and stuff. But I'm telling you, it's a journey that as Kenya we are going through. And then, um, but I'm so happy. That is what I can say. I'm so happy that we're taking it, what we call baby steps. What we have done so far, last year we had up and downs, and this year we did something special. We divided groups into different clusters. We have one that is called SAGE. We call it SAGE. SAGE, they are particular group people that it's targeting, particular area they're reaching out to. That's why we call them SAGE. We have the focused minds. The focused minds, as it just depicts, focused minds are generally these are people that are in the university and lecturers that are lecturing in the university. So we're dividing these groups into clusters or into small groups. And like for example, yesterday's Sage group, was it yesterday or before a day before yesterday, Sage had a discussion on human rights and what some of the human rights are, and they were looking at it as a group, which was so nice. We have another group of what we call the working class. These are people who are working. They are young people but are working. They're out of university and they're working. And we call it a, what you call it? We call it a work class. These are
We,
It cut off a bit.
the condition is failing.
calling them
We do not hear you, Alexander, so something is wrong with.
according to how
Yeah, yeah.
these people are operating. So this group A, you can't hear me?
It cuts all the time, Alexander, but you can later on type it on the list so we can learn the experience, what is the important.
Yes.
Okay, let me just type it. Let me type it.
Yeah. So while Alexander is typing, we can maybe have someone else in Kenya that has been directly like or is concretely in his or her area moving towards a humanist forum, like a basic of the sort that Minimal was talking about. Please, if you would like to tell us something. Bright, you are going to tell us something? I saw you unmuted.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay. So
like the
please,
way Mr. Yes,
Yeah, we can hear you.
uh,
yes,
uh,
yes, we hear you.
that's good. The way Mr. Antonio has said that we are living in a world that we are facing many challenges and very different difficulties in one way or the other. But Mr. Antonio has said that the species that can do that are only human beings. We have reached a point where human beings are treating others as if they are not like same human beings. But I want to thank this organization because it helps a lot, and this I think it is going to bring peace. Like the like in Kenya right now, we are suffering because of that war that Mr. Antonio has said. Right now, the prices of the fuel, for example, can find from where I live to town some years past was around 30 bob shillings, but right now it costs around 100 shillings because of the conflict that was around. So you find that the prices have gone high and it's very difficult to manage it. So bringing peace among people is a good thing. Thank you.
Thank you very
Very
much, Pride. It's a very, very interesting. So, Pride, what I always have to be reminded. But where in Kenya are you placed?
Oh, I live in Kenya from a place called Kakamega.
Kakamega, Kakamega,
Ka-
yeah.
Kakamega.
Okay, okay. I will see it on my chart, you know. So, have you considered, like in your place, in your location, have you? What do you think of the idea of moving things towards the humanist forum for more, you know, for spreading of this idea of humanism?
I can say that most of the time I interact with my age mate, those are the youth. And this has helped me a lot because we normally share some stories with them and we try to move from I have my friend who are in school, so most of the time I try to communicate with them and share my opinion with them. Some come to me when they are, even some teachers discriminate them because you find that they come from humble background. Their teachers, sometime in school we have from those come from rich families and those one that come from humble background. So we find most
Yes,
of the time teachers will be focused with those one that come from rich families, and those one that come from humble background the teachers will
yes,
be ignoring most of the time. So some come very frustrated, some even say that I am not good, I'm not that perfect. You see that that bring a lot of conflict. So what I normally do is I normally encourage them and tell them that that is not the end. Just change your mind, because everything that you do is about your mind. When you change your mind, the way you see things,
yes,
probably everything shall be okay.
yes, yes. And one thing, have you tried in your encounters with your environment to read experiences to like experience of well-being, experience of service, some internal work that links this that opens for this understanding where our condition starts in our own mind, you know. So we need to have some tools and ways to to uh, get near to our force of life and to our human potential through the exercises and the tools given by the Shiloism. So have you tried to think of some interesting meetings where you are working with this?
What I can say that the experience that I learned, the other meeting that we had is about doing to other people what to expect them to do for you, and
Yes, yes,
also and also about that of well-being.
About doing to other people what to expect them to do. I've tried to share with many people, and I've started this. I've also started with project with my fellow age mates, trying to tell people that the Bible says that we are all created in God's image and likeness,
Yes,
and
yes,
God loves us, all of us. There's no need to treat other people in a different way. Just know that
yes,
this is my brother, this is my sister, and we should treat every person equally. And we should not favor somebody, discriminate other people because of their color, because of where they come from, because of
yes, yes,
their villages. No, that's do for others what you expect them to do for you. I've tried to share with my brothers, and I think this is going to work very well.
yes, yes. And in your neighborhood, you have some organization or NGOs that are moving in a similar direction that you want to go. There are more organizations. Do you meet with? Do you have common meetings between the various organizations? Is that experience in your environment in
Uh,
Kakamega?
right now, I can say that I have been in school, so I've not been able to move around and to find out the organization that around. But sometime I have a chance to meet with Alexander Major, who is also
Okay.
my so he's
Yeah.
also my friend. So
Yeah.
sometime when he's free, we can talk to him, and we normally, but right now I have not find an organization that deals with it, but I know in future or now we are going to find an organization.
Yes, because he has a lot of experience. He has worked with other organizations like I think peace organizations and so on. So this is the idea. How can we like develop our networks? This is very much I think is what we are trying to do with forums. Alessandra, is your condition better there as for the voice, or have you written the your words in the chat? It seems that he has not heard us. So anyway, we must move in the limitation with the limitations of the technicalities. But Minver, you wanted to say something?
It's Max.
Oh, actually, it's me who wanted to say
No,
something.
Max. Oh, yes.
Yeah, hi.
Okay, I didn't see.
Uh,
I didn't. Your
It's good
face
to
was in
see.
the shade. Hello, Max.
Sorry,
Good
it's
to see
dark where
you.
we are.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's good
You
to see
want
you
to
too.
share with us something that you're doing?
Yes, I just wanted to say, apart from cassava processing and packaging, we are doing also focusing on arts in general. When I say arts in general, we're talking about movies, we're talking about music, we're talking about
you
sculptures
know.
and
Mm.
paintings. So we have youths who we have gathered who are willing to learn. And before we even begin to teach them, we are also trying to impart them the knowledge that we have learned. Like for example, we are humanists and we are trying to bring that non-violence in them. We're also trying to build their self-esteem, because you will find that most of the youths that we are encountering, they are broken youths. They are broken people who have been promised things that have never even come to pass. If you were to see what is happening in our country right now, many people are disappointed. We are looking at what has happened. We voted for things that have not yet come to pass. They promise what they have not put in place. So many people are frustrated. You find that most of these youths, they have gone astray. You find that some of them, they have joined gangs. The others, they are into alcohol drinking. Others are into prostitution. The others are also in homeless. So we are trying also to find a way of sharing information on can we stabilize certain things that we are really seeing in our communities. So as our group, we are also trying to have road shows. We are planning, because we have artists in different categories. So our plan is to go around Zambia and sensitize, sort of stand-up teaching shows where we can talk about life in general. We talk about businesses. We talk about how can we help each other. Talk about education, because on the other side, I'm also running a school, a private school. We are also trying to put in people who we can help, because we find that in our communities, most of the people they're not really working, and they have kids, they have daughters, they have sons. We're also trying to help to put them in school. So there's a lot that is yet to happen. And looking at what Antonio was talking about, I was really happy to hear to say we have interlink with different kind of categories, different kind of mindset under Humanist Forum. It will really help us to explore, because we will not be limited when it comes to information. Thank you very much.
That's a very important area, Max.
Thank you.
Very, very interesting.
Yes. No, it's very nice. So, Royce Litepo, please feel free to speak and share with us. Where are you placed, Royce? You are in Kenya or in what county? You are muted. You need to mute or unmute to talk. Connection might have gone. So
Julius, I think no. Now she got it. Yes, Royce, speak.
yes, Royce, yes.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, please. Yes.
I'm Lois from Zambia.
Oh, you were
Together
from
with
Zambia. Yes.
yes.
Okay.
I would like to thank
Where in Zambia?
Linda.
Linda, my favorite place.
Yes, Linda Lusaka.
Yes, okay, yes. I know where Linda lives. So you wanted to share with us some experience of the humanist theme?
Langa. We're just neighbors with Miniva.
Yes.
We heard. We've got a group of with us. We have got a group of adolescents. We have 4 groups, and
Okay.
in this we do friend spaces. We have friend spaces which we call adolescent safe space meetings. So in these 4 groups, we have different age groups. We have ages from 10 to 24, and then you also have girls who are survivors of sexual violence.
Yes.
And then you also have adolescents who are living with HIV. And then you also have adolescents, those that are teen mothers. So with the concepts that we are learning from humanism, I was really touched with the whole thing, because we have a lot of issues when we come with adolescents, those who are survivors of sexual violence. It's really sad that they pass through a lot. So with the concepts that we are learning from the Humanist Forum, I think it will really help our team also to, when we share the concepts also, to really help our fellow adolescents to understand that despite all the challenges and the injustice of this world that they might pass through, there are also other people who understand how they are feeling. With that, I really appreciate, and I'm really touched with what Antonio said. So I'll be also able to share with my fellow team the concept of humanists movement. Thank you.
Thank you, Royce. That's very nice testimony. And of course, we'll share everything and the recording of what we have discussed before. And I think there are lots of things that can be transmitted to the different groups that you have formed and according to the particular interest. So we'll see in which way we can suggest some things that are more specific.
Yes. And then also it's very interesting, Royce, that incidentally in Kenya, we have had an example of a humanist forum in Kisumu, County, and that is Edwin and his humanist friends. He's doing artistic work called what's it called? They are performers, so they are making plays, but they have the the message of peace and violence, and solve things in a humanist way, and they had this humanist forum, and in that forum there were around 30 or 40 young women and girls that had been subjected to sexual violence and the problems you are describing in the group you are working with. What they did was that they got Antonio to help them to Edwin and his friends preparing the humanist forum. Antonio explained about them these exercises of the service and the well-being. And then this was on a Friday. On a Saturday, they did a forum with the girls, and after the forum, they made a report, and then we had very nice testimonies from the girls how this internal work to work with this their internal world that it made it so that I remember one of them said, "Now I understand, and now I understand that I can be strong. I can be strong towards those who are misusing me and trying to do me harm." So they felt this internal strength. So I think like spreading this, we can share with you and send to Miniver the video that explains and even the report from this humanist forum in Kisumu. So I think this is the way how we share our lives, our worries, the violence we experience, and how we learn how we can also approach to solve them. So thank
Thank
you
you very
again.
much. I will wait for the same information from Miniva when you share.
Yes, certainly. Thank you very much. Brian, do you wanted to say something more? Please,
Uh,
feel
I
free.
I wanted to pass the information from Alexander Major.
Yes.
Yeah,
Brian,
Alexander.
sorry
Yes.
to interfere. I was talking to Sir Alexander right now, and he can try speaking. Let's hear him.
Okay.
Sir
Okay.
Alexander.
Please, Alexander.
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, okay, thank you. I want to say in Kenya, we're doing a graduate build-up. Last year, we did what you call trials. But now, this year, we're doing what you call build-ups, where we have divided our groups into around 4 clusters. We have one cluster that is called Sage, and we have a particular people that Sage is reaching out to. Then we have another cluster that is called Focused Mind, that is led by different university leaders and university students. I want to appreciate most of them attended our meetings today. They're online. Also Sage, I think we have around 2-3 people from the Sage group who have also attended. We also have another cluster that nobody has attended yet, but we're reaching out also to people who are working class. So there's a way we have divided these small teams into. Next month, we are planning to have what we call online forums, but so far, we have started what we call little forums. For example, Sage had a human rights talk online. The other day, we had the focused minds. They had an induction where they introduced to each other, knowing each other and where they're coming from. We're having what you call build-ups, little small build-ups. And as I always say, that when you're building a house, you won't see the house within 2 days. Somebody will just think you're playing with stones, you're trying to and see the work that you have been doing. So we're doing something. We're doing something. Watch it, each and every person that is there. Thank you. Let me not speak much, but at least there's something going on. But next month we're going to be having
I think I have a proposal that because the content, I think what you're saying, we hear some of it, but this is broken. So if you, Alexander, could, after this meeting, just make a written report of what you were saying, and then you can put it onto the various, like the African for the WhatsApp group, the group on WhatsApp. So we will can include included in this organizational platform here.
Julius, I mean, I will have to go in 10 minutes. Do you want me to teach you this practice that we mentioned in the beginning?
Yes. So I think that also we are starting to stress the time limit a little bit, but please let's end with. Am I right? This gift or this asking? Yes.
So you take a comfortable position. If you are sitting, I mean, you sit and relax, and you can close your eyes. If you are standing, do the same thing. Feel very relaxed, and close your eyes in order to keep your attention over what is happening with you. And the practice says like that: in some moment of the day or night, inhale a breath of air and imagine that you carry this air to your heart. Then ask with strength for yourself and for your loved ones. Ask with strength to move away from all that brings you contradiction. Ask for your life to have unity. Don't take a lot of time with this brief prayer. This brief asking, because it is enough that you interrupt for a brief moment what is happening in your life, for this contact with your interior to give you clarity to your feelings and your ideals. Ask to move away from contradiction is the same as to overcome hatred, resentment, and the desire for revenge. To move away from contradiction is to cultivate the desire to reconcile with others and with oneself. To move away from contradiction is to forgive and to make amends twice over for every wrong that you have inflicted in others. This is an appropriate attitude to cultivate. So if you want, you repeat it. You just take a breath of air and imagine that you carry this air to your heart. Then ask with strength for yourself and for your loved ones. Ask with strength to move away from all that brings you contradiction. Ask for your life to have unity. Don't take a lot of time with this brief prayer, this brief asking, because it is enough that you interrupt for one brief moment what is happening in your life, for this contact with your interior to give clarity to your feelings and your ideas. Ask for yourself, ask for your loved ones, ask for everyone around you. And this is all. That's simple. Don't make it longer. It's that touch of contact which makes the whole difference.
Yeah. So I thank you dearly for this, Antonio, and I greet you all with peace, force, and joy.
Lovely seeing you. Take care.
Lovely seeing you too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Mr. Julius,
Yes.
you said that you are going to talk to me about that issue that you are communicating with.
Yes. Okay.
Okay,
See
thank you.
you all. Thank you all. Thank you all. I stopped the recording now. Yeah.
Sorry, Julius, we didn't unmute to say peace, force, and joy to you, and I did not contribute today. I'll contribute next time. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Peace, force, and joy to you. Okay, bye bye. And now we are
Bye-bye.
stopping the recording. Yes, okay.